Have you ever cradled a fragile bond that teeters on the edge of devouring obsession, where love's gentle touch conceals fangs ready to pierce, much like the tragic devotion in Shelley's Frankenstein, where a creator's affection births a monster that hungers for connection amid isolation's storm? In episode 5 of This Monster Wants to Eat Me, released on October 30th, 2025, we submerge into the turbulent waters of guardianship and greed, positioned midway through the season's arc where Hanako's suicidal yearnings entangle with the predatory desires of her monstrous suitors, evoking the real-world anguish of codependent relationships in historical tales like the Bronte sisters' Gothic romances, where affection cloaks peril in fog-shrouded moors. Imagine the salty tang of tears mingling with sea spray on your lips, the distant crash of waves echoing unresolved grief, pulling you into a childhood home shadowed by loss. This installment, weaving prior episodes' tentative alliances into a vortex of revelation, personally pierced me with its haunting blend of tenderness and terror, teasing the beastly undercurrents of care. But what hidden pacts chain a protector to her charge, and why do they resonate like echoes of your own unspoken attachments? The intrigue swells like an incoming tide, urging you closer. What ferocious forms does love assume in the dark, compelling not mere viewing, but immersion in its depths? Episode 5 unfurls a poignant tapestry of past and present, resuming from the lingering tensions of episode 4 where shadowy threats loomed over Hanako's fragile existence, now delving into Miko's formative bonds amid a confrontation that shatters illusions, reminiscent of the intimate betrayals in Wuthering Heights, where ghosts of childhood haunt the living, binding souls in eternal turmoil. You can almost feel the chill of a rain-slicked courtyard as flashbacks illuminate early connections, a monstrous clash erupts, and revelations about familial tragedies propel the narrative toward uncharted emotional shoals, much like the pivotal disclosures in ancient Greek tragedies where oracles unveil fates that doom the heroes. Key threads involve protective instincts clashing with primal urges, transitioning the arc with a cliffhanger that dangles like a half-submerged secret. What ancient wounds fuel this beastly affection, and why does it taste of both salvation and sorrow? The momentum builds relentlessly, leaving enigmas adrift like flotsam. Dive into the episode, or forever chase the currents of what affections might devour next. Episode 5 elegantly advances the narrative by pivoting from Hanako's passive despair to an active exploration of Miko's role as her steadfast guardian, injecting revelations about parental loss and monstrous rivalries that escalate the central conflict of consumption versus conservation, echoing the structural escalations in Asterisk the Tale of Genji Asterisk, where layered backstories propel courtly intrigues toward inevitable clashes. The pacing achieves a symphonic balance. Languid flashbacks evoke introspection, accelerating into a visceral showdown that maintains tension without overload, culminating in a cliffhanger where alliances teeter on exposure. Key twists include the unveiling of Miko's true form amid battle, reframing her ditzy demeanor as a calculated facade. Fans often puzzle over cloudy aspects like Miko's apparent inaction during Hanako's family tragedy or the boundaries of her territorial influence, sparking debates on whether her protection is genuine or possessive. Drawing from the manga's chapters 9, 10, and 9.5, as confirmed in adaptation wikis and episode guides, these clarify. Chapter 9, The Beast of Affection, delves into Miko's childhood confinement to her domain, a lore-bound restriction preventing her from venturing beyond town limits. Much like Odysseus bound to Ithaca in myth, her power wanes outside, explaining her inability to intervene in the road accident. Chapter 10 amplifies the confrontation with Shirori, revealing Miko's hybrid nature as a yokai tied to human emotions, while 9.5's interstitial explores her emotional tether to Hanako as a surrogate family, born from shared orphanhood. This manga context enriches the anime by portraying Miko's territory not as laziness but a tragic curse, providing deeper insight into her motivations and resolving ambiguities as intentional narrative veils. Akin to historical mysteries in survivor accounts where constraints obscure heroism, Miko's psyche blooms with profound depth, her hidden wounds, orphaned isolation masked by bubbly exuberance, unveiling motivations rooted in desperate kinship, a growth transformative from comic relief to fierce sentinel, consistent yet surprising in its raw vulnerability, like Jane Eyre's evolution from subdued governess to empowered equal. Hanako's passive choices gain layers through reflected grief, her dialogues shifting from resignation to subtle defiance. Shiori's predatory elegance contrasts with Miko's feral protectiveness, her decisions surprising in their calculated cruelty. Were these arcs consistent? Utterly, yet laced with revelations that humanize monstrosity. Stand in Miko's shadowed gaze, your own losses resurfacing. What buried affections might drive you to bare your fangs? The episode probes power's predatory guise, morality's blur and devotion, and sacrifice amid hope versus despair, manifesting in struggles where affection affection devours autonomy? Does guardianship liberate or imprison? Survival questions identity. Can monsters nurture without consuming? These echo through Miko's clash, paralleling Faustian bargains where pacts with the infernal promise protection yet extract souls, urging, in your own bonds, what beastly loves sustain yet threaten to engulf. New lore on yokai domains and hybrid origins complicates the universe, enriching rules by tying powers to emotional anchors and territorial limits, adding gothic depths like the enchanted realms in Spirited Away. How do these constraints foreshadow broader incursions? The script gleams with poetic sharpness, lines like confessions of eternal watchfulness carrying foreshadowing that lingers, reminiscent of Poe's rhythmic horrors where words pulse with dread. Impactful without cliché, they blend whimsy and menace. Miko's retorts echo like waves crashing in a storm, resonating post-credits. Did they move you? Deeply, forging suspense that whispers. What veiled pacts hide in the exchanges, drawing you into the fray's heart. Animation captivates with fluid transformations, art direction blending soft pastels and flashbacks with stark contrasts in combat. Symbolism in crimson splatters against azure seas evoking bloodied affections. Not mere visuals, but a canvas where beauty signifies fractured bonds, like the turbulent seascapes in Turner's paintings. Stillness in grief-laden pauses contrasts savage movements, amplifying solitude. Direction employs dynamic low angles and swirling compositions, edits syncing with heartbeats like in Psycho-esque showers, to heighten rivalry's pulse. The soundtrack haunts as a tidal force, motifs crescendoing with dissonant strings during unveilings, searing into memory akin to Jaws' ominous themes. Silence in Revelations roars louder, underscoring unspoken pains. Voice acting excels. Miko's Siyu shifts from airy lightness to guttural intensity, embodying a soul torn between whimsy and wrath, as if her tremor echoes your own conflicted devotions. This episode etched scars of aching empathy into me, sparking wonder at love's monstrous facets, much like the collective mourning in Hiroshima Diaries, where survivors cling to remnants amid ruins. Pivotal moments collide as destinies entwine in feral grace, a shattering pivot redefining nurture and need, evoking visceral shudders. What timeless queries persist? Can we shield without smothering, or does hope demand devouring despair? Imagine the courtyard's blood staining your hands, your heart fracturing with theirs. Does it bind or break? The philosophical whispers provoke, curiosity cresting like a wave, compelling you to confront the affections that hunger within. Reverse reading reveals the episode's flashback-heavy structure might feel protracted, yet reframes it as deliberate immersion into dissociation, akin to eternal sunshine as memory mazes fostering resonance. Complexity in yokai lore could opacity confuse, but serves thematic intent, mirroring affection's ambiguities. Balanced critique. While some clashes feel visually restrained, the emotional authenticity and narrative layering triumph, flaws woven into the affectionate beast's tapestry. Episode 5 masterfully harnesses backstory depth and thematic ferocity, its strengths in character empathy and atmospheric tension outweighing minor structural lulls. It succeeds brilliantly in This Monster Wants to Eat Me. Artistic and narrative goals. I anticipate its ripples reshaping devotions ahead. But what if the beast gazing back craves your essence, murmuring of affections untold? Feel the sea's pull on your skin, the distant cry of guardians lost. Watching isn't optional. It's the inevitable surrender to the hungers that define your soul. Yield and let the devouring begin.